Weather, it's amazing. We have a hurricane one day, the next couple of days are all sunshine and beautiful. So, um, yeah, look, we got a great challenge going up to Dallas, playing against a really good football team. I've said this already. I mean, I think they're really talented. I think they're very well coached in all three phases. So, it's certainly a tough challenge for us, and yet one that we're excited about the opportunity. So we look forward to it, and we'll embrace the opportunity.
What is it about the way they start games? It looks like they score more points in the first quarter than anyone, especially at home. Like, what's that? I don't know. What's that say about their approach?
Well, it just tells me that they come into games prepared. You know, I think their coaching staff does a really good job of getting them prepared to play the game. And they execute at a high level, you know. So I don't think it's anything that's like, you know, unique in terms of like running exotic plays or anything like that. I think they give you some different looks in all three phases, but I think it really just comes down to, you know, they got a good plan and they come out and they execute.
Is the way they move CeeDee Lamb around unique? Just with the way other teams kind of treat their top receivers and the way they kind of, you know, outside, inside, backfield, and sort of.
Yeah, and look, and I would say it's probably not unique to them. I mean, I think, you know, some teams do it more than others in terms of just moving their guys around. I think they do a good job of putting him in positions to feature him, putting him in positions to get him the ball. You certainly can see that on the tape, how they're, you know, game planning touches for him. And so, look, we'll have to see how they're using them, where they're putting them, and, you know, how we can counteract that.
What keeps you confident about your offensive line if you do have to move pieces around or replace pieces?
Well, look, I mean, I think they had a really good camp and they had great preparation throughout the week. All of our guys have. And I think we got a good plan. Now we just got to go out and execute it. So I feel confident with our guys. I think we got good players. I think they've been coached really well, and let them go play.
How does the kind of veteran presence? I mean, it's a little bit more of a veteran depth than we've seen with typical offensive lines. How much does that factor in?
Well, look, I mean, it's usually one way or the other, right? Like you're got a lot of veterans on the starting unit, and you got some young guys backing them up, or sometimes it might be vice versa. So, but look, I think, you know, having veteran presence on the offensive line, guys that have played in this league, you know, it makes it easier for them to just go in and step in and play.
What can you share about what happened with Blaga this week, if not his
just a little
status?
pack tightness, like not a whole lot different than what he dealt with in training camp. So, look, I feel good about him, but, you know, we'll see how he is the next couple of days.
And yeah, I mean, when was training camp the first time that was ever an issue with him that you know of?
Yeah, look, to my knowledge, because I asked the same question, it wasn't something that he really dealt with throughout the course of college. It's not like this is, you know, Willie Gay had kind of the same thing earlier in the year, a little bit of back tightness. So I don't anticipate it being a big deal, but we'll see.
Is it a tougher decision, like when it's a rookie starter, to decide whether to play him when he's reps in practice?
Yeah, I think that's always a challenge. I'd say this about him: I think he's a little bit more mature than most rookies. You know, just in terms of his where he's at mentally, where he came in mentally from knowing the game of football, how to play. You know, obviously there's certain things in the game plan that you gotta learn. But he's been in meetings. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, so he's really missed the last 2 days. We'll see where he's at tomorrow, but I feel, you know, pretty good about it.
When you watch Dak on film, how much have you maybe seen him grow over the years?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've watched a lot of tape on him, not just this week, but over the course of his career, and I just see him getting better and better every year. I think his poise in the pocket is outstanding. His accuracy under duress is pretty unique. So I just see a guy that's continued to grow. He's certainly got command of the offense. You see a very confident player, and he's played at a high level, so he should be confident.
How did your team kind of handle the challenging aspect of this week game?
Yeah, great. I don't see that as any distraction at all. I think our guys handled it well. We really didn't change up a lot, other than we moved up the schedule on Wednesday and added a little bit more meeting time on Thursday. So I don't feel like that was really much of a factor.
And yeah, Dallas has won a lot of games at home. Is there something that sort of makes that stadium a little different, or is it a combination of that and the talent?
Look, I don't know. I mean, I've been there a couple of times. Well, they got a big scoreboard, big screen up there, so that makes it different. But yeah, I don't know I think what makes it unique or positive is, like a lot of stadiums, when your team goes and plays well and performs well, then it can be a loud, noisy environment. So we've got to go try to, execute, perform at a high level, and maybe limit the amount that those guys, the crowd or whatever, can be a factor.
We didn't see Brzee or Foskey today.
Yeah, Brzee with an illness, and Foskey, I think it was a little back tightness.
Can you say about Will Harris's level of buy-in so far, and just his veteran presence and familiarity?
His buy-in's been outstanding. He's picking up the scheme, which, with him coming from Detroit and being with AG there in Detroit, I think he had a little bit of familiarity with, what we were doing. So I think that made the transition a little bit easier. Kind of the way that they teach there, and the culture that they're building there in Detroit, not too dissimilar from what we try to do here. So I think that all made the transition good. Look, he's a smart player. He works hard. It's important to him, and I think when you got some ability and you're smart, you're willing to work at it. I think usually that's a recipe for some success.
And I know we'll find out at 3 o'clock. We have you. Fuaga questionable?
Yes.
Will you also go as long as you can on a Lattimore decision?
Yeah.
Like he would. I guess you have to decide with some of these.
Yeah.
Guys
Look,
to
I
make
mean,
the
I think that. Yeah, I mean, obviously we got to decide whether a guy's going to make the trip or not. But I mean, my plan is Lattimore's on the trip. We'll see where he's at on game day, and if we feel like he's appropriate to play, then he'll be out there. Okay, guys, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.